What's going on, Gemini? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having a fantastic week so far. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really does mean a lot to me, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy your higher self has brought you here. We are in for an amazing journey. Now, the theme of this week's monthly spread is going to be love, Gemini. Whether you're looking for love, in love, or just in need of some self-love, Gemini, this one's for you. And in case you are, or just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, and never force a reading on a situation, okay? So with all that being said, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Gems, feeling lovely. Just good energy all around here, Gemini. Now, Gemini, with this spread, I'm going to be going until higher self says stop. Oh, yeah, we're just going with the flow here. And just in case, or just so you all know, these readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings. So apply the energies to people as they make sense for your situation, okay? All right. And then lastly, the decks that I'm working with. This one is the Light Seers Tarot deck. And then the other one is the Anatomy of a Witch Oracle deck. And I'll include links for these decks and other decks that I like down in the description box below. So definitely check that out if you're interested, Gemini. But let's take a look here, Gemini. You know, I feel like that we're in this place right now where I feel like we may be kind of, we're feeling like we want to focus a bit more on family, you know, that we're in a place where I feel like that maybe we might have been in the past, or may have dealt with possibly maybe some lying in the past, possibly some deceit, you know, maybe gaslighting. You know, the Seven of Swords can be a card of deception, trickery. And I feel like that we're in this place of I feel like we've had this realization here that, you know, that maybe we've started to see like a trend in people. You know, we've started to maybe notice like a type that we might attract. And I feel like that maybe this is a place where, you know, we're working on that. You know, we're starting to think more about family. You know, we're starting to think more, how can we invite more kind of like wholesome energy in our environment, you know? Because I feel like I'm thinking with the Three of Cups. This is Mercury in Cancer. And Mercury, your ruler, is how we think, how we communicate. And I feel like that, you know, maybe some of us, if we've been attracting the same, you know, if we're thinking like a family, you know, we may not want to look for that in like a dive bar. You know, we may want to, and hey, it's not that saying that you can't meet the love of your life in that kind of setting. But I feel like that, you know, we're at this place where I feel like we're looking for just something that just resonates with us a little bit differently. I feel like, you know, what your expectations for love has possibly changed. And if, you know, and I feel like maybe for some others, you know, this may be something where if we're noticing a trend, if we're seeing like a type and we're trying to find family, but there doesn't seem to be that connection, then this may be something where we're going a little bit too fast, Gemini, because the Hanged Man can also be a card where it can be a card of enlightenment. Can it be a card of also kind of rushing things and forcing stuff to happen too fast? You know, this is Neptune energy. And sometimes Neptune energy can be a bit filled with fantasy and deceptions and dreams and illusions. And I feel like that this is something where if we're noticing that we've been, you know, maybe this is something where we've been like back-to-back relationships where we keep seeing the same type of people coming through. It's time to be honest with ourselves, Gemini, and see that if we don't like the energies that we're attracting right now, then there's time for it's time to shift the vibration. You know, it's time to focus on things that we want in life. You know, be more wholesome. And that's not to say, and let me clarify with wholesome. What I mean wholesome is that, we're not doing any things that are any kind of deception, trickery, anything like that. It's not to say that that you can't find your love in maybe doing shots over a pool table. But if that's not the kind of energy that we're trying to attract, being in that energy, if you want to find someone who's more of an outdoorsy type, get outdoors more. If we're looking for someone who's interested in maybe you like museums or something along those lines, go out and go do some artsy things. You'll go to museums, maybe go to like art viewings, galleries, whatever. If we want to, it's like Gemini, looking for love. It's like if we're trying to, it's, what's the analogy that I'm trying to put? When we're thinking about the law of attraction, you wouldn't go to the desert to go like do fishing. You would go to the water because that's where all the energies are. That's where all the fish are at. And so it's being mindful of that. Now, if you want desert, then go be in that energy. But that's, we have to be a magnet for the things that we attract, Gemini. And if we're noticing a trend, that's something where, yes, these people have responsibilities too, if things haven't been working so far, but we also have to remember, what do all those people have in common, Gemini? And this is a judgment-free zone. Just keep that in mind. Because listen, Gemini, been there, and that's something, when I'm thinking about checking your chart, sidebar, I was just reading something about my chart not too long ago, so reading some up on some aspects. And one of mine, I have one of my stronger aspects is that the moon is squared with Venus, and that's a tough placement because looking back at I was reading something along the lines of, it was saying you may attract unsavory types. And I'll tell you what, that placement read me like a book, because even though I knew what kind of love that I wanted, but that's not what my behavior wasn't matching that. My behavior, my thoughts, my everything was not matching what I thought I wanted for love. I was trying to force something that wasn't working here, and that's just to show you how we need to take some ownage for that too, Gemini. It's not always the other person. Because I don't blame those other people, because I made a decision. You know what I mean? Even though knowing that oh, this probably isn't gonna work, or this is not really what I want, but it's just it was a weird self-esteem thing, Gemini. But that's the nature of my problem. To avoid this becoming the nature of your problem, it's being in that energy. It's being in your actions have to match your intentions. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. The universe doesn't. You can't say you want water, but you didn't, or that's a bad example. But you get. I can pull out analogies like that all day, Gemini. But just something to think about, when we're looking for love. And this is why I added too, when it's like whether you're looking for love, in love, or focusing on yourself. Sometimes, Gemini, we have to do this work here, because if we don't know how to love ourselves, Gemini, how could we possibly think that we can learn love others in the a real capacity, to form a real genuine bond. It's not to say that you can't find love if you're not working on yourself, but it just makes it so that the love is more, when we learn to love ourselves unconditionally, then we can learn to love others like that. Because, think, Gemini, when was the last time that you said that you loved yourself, or have you done anything recently that has, raised your vibration or anything like that? Have you said anything kind to yourself? Because it really makes a difference in the end. So let's get some more cards on this reading here. Oh, Gemini, come on now. We got the moon here, and the moon is about illusions, deceptions, trickery, the very things that we're trying to get over right now. We want to see the truth here, Gemini. And, the moon can be, more Pisces. Well, because now we got, this is Pisces card, and then, Neptune is one of Pisces rulers. Gemini, while we're going through this energy, when we're, because, that can be a tough realization too, when we do see our part in the people that we attract. It can make us feel some kind of way sometimes. I know I felt a way, but that realization, the moon is not there to try to keep you in a fantasy. You know what I mean? It's not, the moon wants you to grow. The moon wants you to get out of this bog here, out of this sense of just like where we feel kind of lost and things like that. The moon, when I'm a big proponent of thoughts becoming things, Gemini, and we need to be mindful of just like our thoughts and our actions and all of that, because these are if we don't have eyes, if we're not being mindful of, again, what we're kind of, attracting into our world here, then it's going to, it's just going to make this journey all the more murky. It's going to get into where we just like, where we're having troubles navigating and then things, we start doubting our intuition, and it's just like a spiral here, Gemini. But I feel like that, the moon asks us to see things clearly. This full moon here, this is not like a new moon. There's no darkness here. This is shining the light on everything. And if we've been in a place where it feels like that we've been drowning for a while, or that, we just want to, we're tired of being in the same old energy, we're just ready to come up for air, then Gemini, do that. Let's start taking steps to get out of these habits, and let's start instilling some new habits, some higher vibratory habits there, as opposed to more low vibratory, because it really does make a difference, Gemini. And it's not going to be one of those things that, it may not be something like instant, but you'll start noticing differences right away. And you know what, Gemini? While we're even working on this, sometimes, higher self, higher self can be funny sometimes, God, Buddha, Jesus, whatever, however we connect to the source. Even when we're going through this growth, even if we had this realization, higher self will every now and again, just to make sure that we don't get distracted, we'll throw something in your realm. It's like, oh, hey Gemini, don't this look nice? You want to come see what this is about? Oh, no? Okay, well, look at you. All right, you learned. I'll keep it moving. But and I too, Gemini, when higher self does that, I feel like higher self is not really trying that hard. I feel like it's one of those things, we know what's going down when it's happening, but we have a decision to make when those situations come up. This is like higher self, like, all right, you said you wanted to go towards this thing, but in order to really get over this hump, let's put the nature of your problem right in front of your face. Let's see how you do. And if we keep on our path, Gemini, higher self's just like, dope. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Let's keep it moving. But if we keep falling into that, Gemini, that's how these illusions and stuff can turn into a devil moment. And then this is something where it can become a whole thing. And honestly, Gemini, this could already be a devil moment. Being lost in illusions and stuff like that. That's something that we got to keep working on our vibration and stuff. And what we attract, that's something that we have to work on all the time. But, just being mindful, of the things that we're telling ourselves, the people that are coming into our environment, all of that, okay? Let's see what else is going down here. Interesting. Okay, we got 7 of Cups here. What else we got cooking up? Got the Hierophant, and then we got Ace of Wands in reverse. Let's start with this Hierophant here, Gemini, because the Hierophant is that connection. I feel like that connection to source, that trusting your intuition. This is, and not even just trusting it, but listening to that connection even when it seems like there's just like a lot of noise and a lot of confusion, that like a lot of stuff or distractions and temptations that are in our realm, it's keeping that intention, and not just impulsively acting on something. It's I feel like this Hierophant Ace of Wands here is asking us to be mindful with our actions. Just because we have some old Joe Schmo that comes through, makes you laugh real quick, it's like that may not be the one we're looking for, Gemini. But if we find something, that's more genuine, it's like, I feel like this energy is really just, I'm just thinking with your energy, Gemini. Gemini is a very gregarious sign. You're very social. You're super, hilarious. Just great sense of humor. And I feel like that maybe some of us, because you can be so charming, so witty, so suave, that maybe that we're feeling like spoiled for choice. It's like we're just like playing the field here, as opposed to like making a genuine connection. And Gemini, again, judgment free zone. But if we're looking for more, I feel like that we can't, or if we're looking for something a little more kind of a stronger connection, with like that like a soulmate or something along those lines. That's something where we have to be mindful. If we're jumping around all over the place, kind of just like sampling, that's, here's the thing. If that's where your jam, if you're just looking for something fun and casual right now, then do that. But we can't say we're looking for something more while like having one person and then like several options on deck. We're not invested then. Then that shows the universe, that shows me that you're, at least if I were the universe, as just like, oh, well, Gemini, like you're kind of there, but it's like, there's some question marks there. It's just like, is this really in it? Are we really in it? And I get it, maybe it's like, well, I just, want to have some backups in case this fails. But it's just like, look at that. You're already anticipating on this failing. You're not giving this a chance. And if we're already planning, we're already casting illusions that this may fail or, something, then again, the universe don't like to make you a liar. And you said you have emergency options. So, well, this person, bye. And then, and hopefully your emergency options are what you want. But I feel like that, Gemini, this is really, if we're not looking for love, it's okay to say that, because maybe some of us are feeling pressured. Maybe we feel like that we're at this place of that we have to be locked down, or that we feel like we need to be married or something along those lines. Gemini, if you want to have fun, if you want to do, you do what you want to do, Gemini. No one can I can't tell you what to do. Your mama, your daddy, your brother, whomever. You got to be true to you, but also make sure that we're being honest with the people that we're involved in as well. Making all parties know that it's just like, no illusions. These are my intentions. Are you game? And if you're not, okie dokie, and then keep it moving. But it's being honest with ourselves, because this is an interesting reading, Gemini. It's like, it's interesting. And Gemini, while I'm talking about all this people here and socializing and whatnot, so if we're in relationships, and you may know where I'm going with this, if we're in relationships or a relationship, and if there's something going on the side here, Gemini, because I normally don't like to read the Three of Cups like a third party. That's not been an instance, but it's crossed my mind just seeing how things are going here. Gemini, I feel like this, if we're being unfaithful, or if there's some infidelity going down, we want to be fair with this person that we've formed a connection with. Now, it's one thing, Gemini, you know how I feel. If it's one thing, if you've had this discussion with this person, I'm with it. It's a new age. Like, believe me, I'm the last person who's going to throw any judgment your way. But it's another thing if we're going behind people's backs, then we get in a weird place, because that's not fair to your person, especially if they're committed as well. We want to be honest with this, Gemini, and that's okay if you don't, if you tried it and you just don't feel like you just want to be free, and this could be, Gemini, but okay, let's start there. That could be possibly one instance, if we want to be, a little more free, maybe having that discussion, maybe seeing if maybe that's something they'd even be open to, because it's like, maybe you're the type, it's just like, listen, I just, I love socializing, but I love coming home, you're my rock here. Like just making sure that there's some fairness here. But, even then, Gemini, that can get communication. When we get into something like that, communication. But for some others, maybe this is a place where maybe this person that if we're in something, boyfriend or girlfriend person, marriage, whatever. If we're in a place where, because Gemini, like I was saying, you are a social sign, and maybe it's harmless, but maybe if we have a person who's saying like, well, Gemini, I don't like that you're talking to such and such, you seem to be talking to everybody but me, why is it that you're blah, 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 always doing this and all this stuff here, trying to, kind of keep you in a box here, maybe possibly gaslighting you, maybe, like whatever. That's something too. If a person's trying to keep you in a box and all you're doing is just like talking, like if it's innocuous, then that maybe be something too where we need to have a conversation with this person. It's just like, yo, if you can't, I like to be social, like I like my, because in relationships, it's good to be together, but it's nice to have our time apart as well. We have to live our journeys, and sometimes, depending on the energies, like Gemini, it's like Gemini energy has to be so you can't keep wind locked up. It needs to be free. It needs room to breathe. But if we're not feeling that room, Gemini, then maybe time to take some action, that may be a realization that, maybe this thing isn't working, that we need to be honest. Because I get it, Gemini, I mean, my moon's in Gemini, and I like where it's, because I feel like Gemini, and I feel like this is where maybe people misunderstand air signs, is that I feel like that air signs just love differently, it's not that they love to connect on an intellectual level. And of course they love passion and whatnot and romance. But there's something about, just like a really good conversation and someone who, gets like the brain synapses firing, you talking about stuff that's great, but it's just getting that understanding across there, Gemini, and just making our communication, I feel like, is just really key when it comes down here. And I feel like if we're in a relationship, if we've been communicating with others, take time to communicate with your partner too. More? Let's see what else we got here, Gemini. Okay. Because we got the Knight of Pentacles here, and now we got the Six of Cups as well. I feel like that with this combo here, maybe I feel like Gemini with this Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles is a type that he doesn't like to rush things, he likes to kind of go at his own sort of pace. And I feel like that this is kind of like asking you to almost like just kind of be how do I want to put this, Gemini? You know, I feel like that if you feel like someone may be too slow for you, you know, maybe things that, and I don't mean slow like they're not smart, Gemini. I mean slow in the sense of that they're maybe they just don't move at the same pace as you. You know, maybe you're the type that likes to be out and about, and maybe this person is like more of like a homebody, you know, kind of more kind of slow kind of pace. I feel like that it's, you know, it's matching that pace, you know, or like finding that balance, you know, if we're trying to keep this, you know, if we're invested in this thing, you know, if we really like this, you know, this person that we may be with. You know, it's seeing if we can, you know, find a way to find a middle ground here, you know, because I feel like we don't want to get to a place where we're not. I feel like we want to get to a place where we want to grow with this person here. You know, we want to put in some experiences and some time with this person here. But if we do, this is something where, you know, like, I feel like, you know, when it comes to compromise, you know, it's about, you know, it's reciprocity. You know, I don't feel like that one really has to really sacrifice. It's just that we work with the energies, you know. It's like, okay, you're more kind of a fast-paced social. I like to be kind of at home, you know. Absolutely, go out with your friends. And I feel like this is going to be a good exercise, you know, to make sure that we establish trust as well, Gemini. You know, like, you know, being like, hey, you know, like I'm gonna go out for a little bit, and then when I get back, you know, we're gonna have date night, and then we're gonna chill and relax. But it's like, you know, letting the person know that it's like, you know, if we just love being social, you know, if you're not as much as a homebody as this person is, that's totally fine. But just like, we can even opposite energies, you know, we can make this thing, you know, you can make that work. You know, if anything, opposites, we can really do some, you know, really great work together. But we just have to communicate and find our groove here, you know, find out how we can make this work, and know that this is something that is going to take some adjustment, Gemini. You know, if we're deciding to, you know, commit to this relationship and work with these energies, it's going to take something that, you know, it's going to take some time to get there. But once you do, Gemini, you'll have a lovely little groove. And, you know, I feel like that this can be something where loyalty can be established as well, because everyone's needs are being met. You know, it's just, because I feel like that really, Gemini, it's not that your sign can't be faithful. It's just that you like being social, and that's all. And I feel like that it's just misunderstood. And then, you know, and listen, I get it, you know, when someone tries to accuse you of something, you know, Gemini, I feel like air signs is like, well, if you think that way of me, I ain't gonna make you a liar, so watch this. You know, and I feel like just to prove it out of spite. And Gemini, you know, that's, I do. I feel like it's just misunderstood, you know. But I feel like if you just made your feelings known, and just what your needs are, we can find a balance here, you know. Lovely things can happen here. More. All right, Gemini, let's get some oracle cards, and I hope that made sense, Gemini. This was an interesting one for sure. Let's get some oracle cards here so I can get you out of here, and really kind of figuring out what's going down here, Gemini, because you gotta, yeah, this is an interesting one for sure, and they've all been interesting, you know, since the shifts here with Saturn, you know, it's the energies are changing, Gemini, and that's something too, Gemini. You know, pay attention, you know, while you're out there socializing. You know, people are going through some transitions right now, so be compassionate. You know, I feel like during this energy too, especially with this, you know, Pisces, Neptune energy, that's a very compassionate combo here. So be compassionate to yourself in this situation, to your partners, and all parties in this, okay? Oh, more. Okay. All right. So far, interesting. We got the Serpent and the Dream in reverse here, and that's so cool. Interesting, because I don't know if you can see it on here. The serpent is actually on this guy on the dream card here. And you know, Gemini, I feel like that with this energy somewhere. I feel like with this energy that if more, hold on, let me switch back over here. Let's see which lungs. Okay. You know, with the serpent, I feel that the serpent is really kind of like a signifier of going through that change. You know, if a snake doesn't shed its skin, like, can you imagine like that it would just be it would be very uncomfortable what's going down here, Gemini. And I feel like with this energy that if we've been in a place where maybe we felt restricted, possibly, you know, maybe we're even like I don't want to say like that, or at least I would hope not. You know, I don't want to say where we even feels like that we can't even accomplish our dreams here. But if we feel like that we're not just like living our truth, or that something is not being met here, you know, I feel like that it's time to I mean, almost like that. I just wanted to say breathe, but almost like I feel like it's time to free yourself, you know, or if we've been feeling this place of constriction, you know what I mean? Because this really is an interesting reading. It's like, it doesn't even really give me like infidelity or anything like that. You know, this just feels like that maybe, you know, maybe for some, or like the majority of the energy is just like, you know, maybe that how you go about maybe talking with people, or maybe you're socializing, might possibly be viewed as something of flirting, or that you know that you're not being faithful. I'm you know, apply it to your situation, Gemini. But I feel like that this is more so that you really like connecting, you know. And I feel like that when we go to find that person, Gemini, we want to feel like we're in a place where we can breathe, you know, where we don't feel suffocated, you know. And I feel like for both parties, you know, we want to be where I'm a big fan of, you know, doing stuff together and growing together, like, absolutely. But we came in as two individuals, and that doesn't mean that just because I'm out doing one thing and you're out doing another thing, that doesn't mean that this relationship is damaged. It's just we're raising our vibrations, and then when we're coming back home, we're talking about our dreams, we're talking about our goals, we're talking about all the ways that we've grown. But I feel like that if this is something that is, you know, you feeling stifled, and, you know, or you know, vice versa, you know, if you're doing the stifling, Gemini, you know, it's getting eyes on that, and being, and again, you know, being honest, and taking the appropriate steps to get to this place of freedom, you know, where we feel like that we can breathe again. So I think I'm gonna leave that there, Gemini. But I hope that made sense. And if something resonated with you, give it a thumbs up. Absolutely, because this was definitely, you know, with all this, look at this, dreams and Pisces and Neptune, a lot of dreamy stuff going down here, Gemini. So yeah, very, very fascinating. But if you know someone who might be going through this, share this, Gemini, because I feel that sometimes I'm a water sign, you know, but I know that sometimes my moon might come through a lot clear. You know, I got my Gemini placements in the 10th house, so that's a whole thing. But being a water sign, you know, and having like air in like a real close placement, I get it. You know, I understand that need for freedom, you know, that wanting to get out, and it really is harmless, Gemini. And your energy is one that I feel like it does need to be, it needs to be you do your best when I feel like you're constantly learning, you know. And it's not to say that your partner can't provide that, but they only have so many perspectives, you know. In order for you to enrich that mind that you have, we have to have numerous experiences, you know. We have to breathe. We all breathe the same air, and we all have so many stories that we want to tell. And then that gives you something too, you know. Like when you get back, it does. You have so many stories to tell your partner. So that could be an argument for your partner, but I do feel like that, you know, it's just something that your sign, it really, in order for you to really grow, you know, Geminis need to communicate and need to socialize and need to learn and grow. So, yeah, Gemini, you know, let's, you know, if you know someone who's maybe, you know, noticed that they've, you know, kind of been in a box or, you know, or in some type of situation like this, share this. And then, if you haven't already, subscribe, and then if you want, like, you know, notifications, hit that bell button. You can get them personalized, and I get updated when I release videos each week. And then social media. I am, you know, you would think with my Gemini placement, you know, because I want to say Mercury rules over like technology and some stuff too, but how I social media is Insight Timer. it's very Hierophant of me. It's a meditation app. You know, I've been working with them for years. We don't have any kind of like relationship or anything like that. I just love using them, and I'm a fan of if we have any type of tools that are there to raise our vibration. You know, that work for us. I say, you know, let's just share the love. But it's an app that I like. You know, they have different healing music. You can do your own just preset timers. There's so much, you know, teachers, courses, all the stuff. And that's like free stuff. You know, the app offers a whole bunch of free, and then they also have a premium one. Even like it's like a yearly subscription. It's really not that bad, you know, when you think about it. It's pretty solid, you know, but either way you can get on it for free. And I made a group on there called Zodiac's Raising the Vibration. I'm still trying to figure out how to post it on Instagram and on YouTube, but the group has been made. It's on my Facebook page if you're following me. I haven't posted it recently, but it's my latest post included that link, so you can find it there. But again, it's Zodiac's Raising the Vibration. It's just a place to drop, or, you know, to post any kind of positive affirmations, uplifting messages, you know, of encouragement, anything like that. You know, just a little safe space to just raise the vibration. So hopefully to see you over there. You know, as the group grows, I want to, you know, I got ideas. You know, maybe you can schedule like group, you know, meditations. I would love to do something like that. So just something to check out, Gemini. And then lastly, if you have any, I was going to say, you don't really got any, you got the one Cancerian card, but if you have any Cancer in your placements, with what's this energy's going down here, hopefully you're not dealing with the Cancer, but if you are, bring them over to the Chariot and Friends, because maybe they just need to sync up with the moon. But that channel is just where I talk all things Cancerian. We definitely discuss the moon ad nauseum, and it's a good old time. And all that housekeeping, down in the description box below, Gemini. But let me get your surprise cards here so I can get you out of here. Fascinating. All right, we're ending up with got the Hermit in reverse here for your tarot card. And then for your oracle card, we got the play card in reverse. And you know what, Gemini? I feel like with this energy, okay, my mic's still working. Nature my problem. But I feel like with this play card one, if we've been in a place where you felt restricted, like, and Gemini, it's not that I feel like that you put up with this stuff, but it's just like maybe you're trying to compromise for stuff, but maybe we get into this place where it's like where you're giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, and it's just like you can't seem to make this person happy. You know, even when you just like you're just socializing on the phone, you're just like, hey, pay attention to me. Gemini, however this is looking like, if you're in your situation, if we're not in this place where we're enjoying ourselves, you know, where we're taking some time out for us, because me time is important in relationships. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you have to at some point we don't go into relationship. Who was I telling this? I think I was telling Scorpio this. We don't go into relationships thinking that the other person is going to fulfill us. We come in already already working on our fulfillment. You know, we're bringing our, it's BYOC, bring your own cups. You know, that's because they had a whole bunch of cups, you know, but, you know, this is, we come in bringing our fulfillment. You know, we don't expect, we bring our energies can work together, and we can, you know, create new stuff. But as far as like our own personal things, you know, we have our own stuff. Even if you're in like a partnership, you know, that growth even can look different. You know, it's important to take some time and have some time for yourself. The hermit in reverse, we all need to hermit every now and again, because it's part of our spiritual journey here. You know, it's something that, where your partner can be there for you in your growth. They can't guide you through your growth. They can't tell you how you grow. You know what I mean? So this is something where, Gemini, if we're feeling restricted and if we're not able to, you know, gate that time, then we have some decisions that need to be made. And regardless of what you choose, Gemini, you know, I'm gonna kick it with you. But, you know, let's just see through the illusions, okay? But I think I'm going to leave that there. So stay safe out there, Gemini, and make sense of this, you know. And when you do, you raise your vibration through the roof, you know. Raise that to the moon, to Neptune. And I will catch you on the next one later.